This terrible price action in crypto has given us pause and forced us to ask a tough question. Should we continue to cover Bitcoin? And the answer is sadly no. So today we're having a funeral for Bitcoin. It was fun while it lasted, so many memories, so many friends. There was Tom Lee and his calls for 20,000 by year end. There was Novogratz and his calls for 40,000. And there was Ripple. I think we'll miss you most of all, Brad Garlinghouse. And then there were the characters. Bitcoin Jesus, the Oracle of Bitcoin, all 500 of the Ethereum co-founders, and who could forget the Coinbase screen grab and mindless trolling on Twitter, and of course our Bitcoin bug.
Bitcoin is on shaky ground today after the largest crypto sell-off last Friday, reclaiming 115,000 yesterday and then dumping back to 110 again today. And just like clockwork, the mainstream media is screaming Bitcoin is dead again. But what if they're wrong again? In this video, I'll show you what smart money is doing right now, what altcoins they're buying, and why this actually might be the biggest opportunity of 2025. This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, altcoinbuzz.io, and as always, is not financial advice, and wish the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Also, make sure to join us for our X Spaces, Tuesday to Friday at 9 a.m. EST, link down below. Alright, good morning guys. Hopefully you are doing well and you didn't get destroyed too much over the weekend. This is something that no one could really have ever predicted. Obviously, our TA is, completely thrown out from what happened over the weekend with this huge liquidation, which we're going to get to in a second. But one thing I will say TA-wise, and again, I could have never predicted this, and I'm not saying that I'm I called this, but it definitely didn't make sense that we didn't take out these stops down here below and completely pumped up here to basically the range high. So went from the range low to the range high, took out the stops above here, and then dumped back down here. So I definitely didn't predict that this would happen, but it didn't make sense for us to go to new all-time highs without taking out stops down below here, which we have clearly done now. And because our thesis was every time we go to new highs, we always take out the stops before going higher. And so you can see every time here, we take out stops and then we wick higher. And so it seems to be the ongoing case. We have liquidation. We even came back, retested a little bit, but then went higher. So we always do this, and the fact that we just made this slightly higher high here down below, back around the Friday, the 26th of September, the fact that we didn't retest these lows and we just went straight up was a bit concerning. But maybe it was just October and everything was all good. But unfortunately, that was not the case. And so yesterday, we were pumping back up towards 116-ish thousand, and then we sold off overnight. We're retesting this. I do imagine we'll probably chop around here a little bit more as traders look to get into positions. Either they start to sell or they start to buy. We came back up here, and anyone who's in spot thought, okay, maybe it's over, and so they sold. And now we're back down here, and I imagine we're going to chop around a little bit more before coming back up. But I will say, having this all been done, this is the prerequisite to go then higher. So this is ultimately bullish for price, even though it's a devastating thing that happened. This is ultimately bullish for price because it means we can go higher now. So if you are still in spot positions, I do think we have a good rest of Q4. Maybe it's not fully in October. We are in the middle of October right now. So maybe towards the end of October, we start to hit it up here towards new all-time highs and breakout. I do think we still have a very bullish Q4. And Bitcoin now, having taken out all these stops, has fulfilled that prerequisite to go much higher. And so I do think that is still in the cards. Now, Hanzo says, what really happened on 10/10? A recap. Binance just reminded everyone who really runs the market. This crash wasn't about Trump, tariffs, or macro. That was the noise. The real story happened inside the books. One market maker you definitely know moved $700 million to Binance hours before the crash, and $200 million of it was in Bitcoin. Few noticed that as traditional markets bled, crypto started following, but something was off. The order books on Binance went hollow, no bids, no walls, just a free fall waiting to happen. Now at $108,000, liquidation pressure hit terminal velocity. Binance's own market maker stopped defending the price and pulled liquidity. This is exactly why Atom went to 0.001 cent. And the worst part, traders could even fight back. On every other exchange, you could close, hedge, or buy the dip manually. On Binance, buttons stopped working, stop orders froze, and limit orders hung. Only liquidations were executed perfectly, but not in the way they should have been executed. Think about it, your position on 50x cross margin stops at negative 1%, but the market dumps 50%. Your stop loss never hits, your account gets nuked for 25x over your position. And if you're mirrored across different pairs, it's game over. Arbitrage bots amplified it, selling where price still held, deepening the fall, and lending protocols liquidated positions. Alts were down 80%, Anything with 2x leverage or more was gone guaranteed. Some positions with even less leverage were liquidated. Hundreds of portfolios erased, some funds as well, and no one's admitting it publicly yet. We can read between the lines. The market just showed its real nature: unfair, manipulated, and merciless. Only the strongest survived here, and sometimes even they can't handle it. If you're still here, bleeding but alive, you've already passed the test most never recover from. Don't quit now. Learn what actually moves price, not what influencers say it does. The next wave rewards those who survived. So you can see here Wintermute sending to Binance just hours before the drop. But the Trump tariff news wasn't the actual thing. It was just a cover so that they could do this and sell off the entire crypto market because, TradFi, it sold off 2%, which is a huge move. But it wasn't this, cascade of 80% across all altcoins, which we had in crypto. We also have Coin Bureau saying analysts warn the true size of the largest crypto liquidation could be up to $400 billion. CoinGlass says Binance API's throttling only reflects 5% of liquidations during the crash. If true, that's 20 times larger than the $19 billion reported, which is the largest crypto liquidation. We also have Raul Paul, who says, all said and done, regardless of what sparked it, Friday was a flash crash, and flash crashes usually recover in V-shapes back to the prior price and range, and usually go on to make new highs shortly after. In this case, we entirely wiped out all accumulated leverage as well, higher. And so I do agree with him. I do think we will go up. I don't know if it'll be a full V reversal. I mean, it could, now that we've fully, wiped out all the leverage. But as we can see right now, it's, a V reversal, we would have already gone back to the tops. And so I think, people who started to long here are now, getting tested again if they are actually have conviction. And so I don't think we're going to just V reverse straight back to the highs. I could be wrong. But I think we're going to chop around here for another couple of days, and then we'll start to go higher. And then Tony Edwards says, I see a bullish setup coming, which includes the following macro factors and narratives. 1, Trump backtracks or delays China tariffs. The US government opens up. The Fed cuts rates again. The Clarity Act gets passed. And the SEC approves altcoin ETF applications. This could all take place within the next month. Now moving on to our first altcoin that smart money and whales are buying is Say. And we're not saying I'm buying more Say, as I can't help but see it's undervalued relative to its competitors and their adoption. Say's TVL is up 5,000% since 2024, outpacing both Sui and Aptos. The stablecoin market cap is up $300 million in 5 months. The engagement is through the roof as Say flips Sui and Aptos in daily active addresses, this month at 900 to 1 million daily active addresses. And from a valuation perspective, Say is at 1.36 billion, Aptos at 2.67 billion, and Sui at 10 billion. Say beats those two across mostly all metrics, and it's a fraction of the market cap. The cycle is about liquidity, stablecoins, perps, RWAs. Say is built exactly for that. I think this play will be very obvious in hindsight. We also have Tanaka saying Say is up 12.6% in the last 24 hours, ranking 16 among the best recovering coins in the market. After a market pullback, identifying coins that bounce back strong is key, and Say Network is one of them. We also have Mark, who shares that Say's net inflows is up 3.5x in the past 30 days. Now, as for TA for the altcoins, obviously this is not something that you could have really predicted that this happened. So all this TA is essentially useless from before. At this point where we are in the TA, if you want to buy these altcoins, you need to be doing it spot and not on leverage, because it is very possible we could still bleed out a little bit and then continue upwards. And I think when we do that continue upwards leg, it's not going to be very forgiving. I think we're going to go up very fast. So at some point we will just, chop around like this. But I think when we do start going up, it's going to start going up very fast and things will accelerate. And so I don't know if you'll have a lot of time to get in. So if you do believe in any of these altcoins and you want to buy any of these, buy them spot. And you have to do it from a fundamental perspective, because the TA right now isn't necessarily lining up. I mean, this is, it broke all these levels, obviously. And so we are underneath this. This is an underside retest. And so it could very well go down. So at some point, though, we will continue higher. If you do believe we are still going up in Q4, we will continue higher. So you have to buy these from a fundamental analysis perspective, not necessarily a technical analysis, because we've broken all these trend lines. We've broken down, we've taken out all the stops. And then you could say that it's bullish and we've taken out all the stops below here, and now we'll continue upwards. So you could say that from a TA perspective. But most of these, they've lost their TA. We're going to have to reset it all. And once we start to reclaim these, you could say, hey, we've reclaimed these lows here. I'll buy it once or above 27 cents. Or you could also buy it down here at 20 cents and, you save yourself, buying, about 35% higher. So if you want to buy it now, you could do a spot. So you could buy it 35% higher if you want to wait for the TA level reclaim, and you could wait for that. But it's just kind of what you believe in if you think this is a strong fundamental coin. Pretty much across all the altcoins, we're going to go over it right now. And so for the next coin, we have Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, who says, I find that all roads from security and speed are leading to the Sui network. So he said this:
increasing my concentration in a few tokens, as opposed to having, as I used to have 27. I don't need that anymore, because I've realized you can get the full volatility, the full alpha, the full price exploration and transparency with just 4. That's all you need. And so for me, it's Bitcoin, obviously, for 25%. For a longest of time, and you just quoted the price of Ethereum, it's still the granddaddy in terms of level 1 chain. Solana has got a lot of interest in it, but there's nothing wrong with those two, and I own those two as well, except when enterprise is now finally, after 12 years, starting to talk about going on chain, neither of those are fast enough. You can wait minutes for a transaction on Ethereum, and the same with Solana, because they're single lane highways. And so I just got back from Singapore. I'm always trying to skate to where the puck is going to go, looking at development for enterprise, the big box retailers, for example, the stock exchange. Where are they putting their bets? Because that's where I want to invest as well, because they're looking at speed and security. Those are the 2 metrics they care about. And then I find that all roads from security and speed are leading to SUI, which is the Japanese pronunciation. Domestically, we call it SUI. But this chain was founded by Evan Chen, who left Facebook years ago and formed Miston Labs. That community is on fire because they're solving for speed for enterprise. Right now, the Greek stock exchange is running on SUI. I mean, nobody knows that, but I found that out in Singapore, and many other financial institutions are saying, well, how are they doing that? Same with inventory management. It's almost instantaneous because it's a multi-lane highway, almost unlimited number of lanes, as opposed to the restriction of Solana or Ethereum. So yes, I'm investing in that. And that's a new conversation that you and I have not had, but that is going to get a full weighting in my holdings.
And we also have Box Mining, who says, don't sleep on SUI now. TVL is above $2.6 billion now, a 12.82% increase over the past week. And DeFi activities are heating up with Cetus, Bluefin, and SUI lending. Price is lagging behind TVL growth, but long-term value capture is in play. Now again, SUI pretty much in the same spot. It needs to reclaim this if you want a actual TA level reclaim. Now you can buy it here, or you can wait for a level reclaim somewhere around $3.05, and you can get a little bit higher with a little bit more confirmation. That's what I was looking for, confirmation that we are going higher. Or you can just wait and accumulate or DCA over the next couple of days as we potentially just chop around here, maybe test some of these lows again, and then come back up higher and do something like that. So that's a very real possibility. A lot of times we do chop, grind lower, test people's conviction, and then continue higher, which is a good reason to be buying a lot of these on spot and just waiting. And then for our last altcoin that Smart Money is buying, we have BNB, who smashes new all-time highs right after the biggest crypto liquidation ever, which is incredible. And it also has to do with Binance as well. BNB is really cooking massive inflows from every other major blockchain flowing into BNB. We also have Marina who says Trump considers pardon for Binance founder CZ. The White House is in talks over potential pardon for Binance founder CZ, who served 4 months in prison after pleading guilty to violating the Bank Secrecy Act. CZ paid $50 million in fines and stepped down as CEO, while Binance shelled out $4.3 billion and agreed to anti-money laundering reforms. A pardon showed clear CZ's felony record, reversed state bans on Binance, and set him up to return to power, which would be kind of crazy if that does happen. I wonder if he actually wants it. A lot of times he's been saying he's happy that he's not a part of Binance anymore, so he can focus on Aster and these other projects that are more decentralized. But I also don't think that he would hate the idea of returning to power at Binance if that was a possibility, because obviously he still loves crypto and he's still very much involved in crypto. So we'll have to see what happens there. But BNB though is a very hard coin to chart right now. We have this kind of M, formation, the McDonald's logo going on right now. So we went back to new all-time highs. Everyone sold off, as prices sold off and the rest of the market sold off as well. So I do think this is going to continue higher. I think they're going to continue to push this price even higher. It's just, do you want to be buying it right here, which is probably better than buying it up here? I think, it's probably a pretty good area of anywhere between 1,090 and around 1,050. Anywhere around here is probably a pretty good area as we continue up higher over the next coming weeks. But you're also going to have to be buying this spot because this is a super volatile coin as well right now. Everyone is getting liquidated, whether you're longing, shorting, everyone is getting wiped clean right now. So I would definitely avoid leverage right now, and definitely avoid especially high leverage and trying to make it all back. Then lastly for today, we have Apex Fusion expands across chains with LayerZero's integration. So the project announced that its Nexus chain is now live with LayerZero, linking it to more than 145 support networks, including popular ecosystems such as Solana, Ethereum, and Base. The integration also establishes a direct route to Cardano's UTXO liquidity through Apex Fusion's vector chain, effectively bridging two of the most influential blockchain communities, Cardano and Ethereum, for the first time. The collaboration marks a first in blockchain interoperability, where Apex Fusion becomes the first ecosystem to connect UTXO-based networks like Cardano with EVM-compatible chains through LayerZero's messaging protocol. Developers building on Nexus can now deploy applications that reach over 60 LayerZero connected ecosystems. This unlocks the ability to create true omni-chain applications, or OApps, which can move assets and data seamlessly across networks while benefiting from unified liquidity. And the integration also extends support for Stargate and the omni-chain fungible token, or OFT patterns, which enable smooth transfers of native assets between chains. The next development phase will introduce a vector-to-nexus route, bringing Cardano native assets deeper into the LayerZero network, strengthening Apex Fusion's role as a connector between previously isolated ecosystems. So that is Apex Fusion and LayerZero. And that is the video for today, guys. I think we are going to continue to chop around a little bit more, but I do think we ultimately go higher towards the end of this month and in Q4. So I'm still very bullish on that. I think we're just going to test people's convictions at these lows here again. If you bought anywhere around here on leverage, they're going to really test you and see if you want to hold that position. But if you bought spot, I think you are fine. Just buy spot, wait for the end of the month, and I believe still a bullish Q4. So that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow.